Losing your balance on the stairs, struggling to stand up, or feeling weaker each month, it's easy to think that's just aging. But it isn't. In my 25 years working with older adults, I've seen how 5 simple movements can reset your body's aging clock. Research shows they can cut fall risk by nearly a quarter and even lower death risk by 31%. Yet most seniors skip them entirely. In the next few minutes, you'll see the 5 exercises you'll truly regret ignoring after 60, and how to start safely today. If you've been feeling a little slower lately, legs heavier, grip weaker, or mornings stiffer, you're not alone. Many of my patients thought the same until they realized it wasn't age, but disuse. Muscles and balance systems fade when they're ignored. The good news? They come back fast. With just 150 minutes a week, studies show we can rebuild strength, lower inflammation, and regain independence. But it all starts with 5 foundations, and one of them is probably missing from your current routine. 1. Strength training, your metabolic reset button. For most people over 60, the first real sign of aging isn't wrinkles, it's weakness, needing to push off the armrest just to rise from a chair. But in my 25 years of clinical practice, I've seen something powerful. Muscle doesn't vanish because of age, it fades from neglect. And when we bring it back, everything changes. Blood sugar, energy, and confidence. Strength training is like pressing the reset button on your metabolism. After 60, the body's insulin sensitivity naturally drops, making it harder to manage blood sugar. Yet research shows that resistance training can reverse this within just 6 to 8 weeks by helping muscle cells pull glucose back into action. It's as if exercise teaches your body how to use fuel again. The LISA study, 2024, tracked adults near retirement for 4 years. 1 year of heavy resistance training, just 70 to 80% of their capacity, helped them maintain the same leg strength years later, even without ongoing supervision. Another progressive resistance meta-analysis, 2020, involving over 1,000 adults up to age 85, showed clear gains. A 39% increase in upper body strength and an incredible 167% rise in lower body strength within 4 months. In my clinic, I always recommend beginning with 2 to 3 sessions a week, resting between days. Start light, perhaps a pair of dumbbells or even body weight. Perform 8 to 12 repetitions for 2 to 3 sets, focusing on big movements, squats, rows, or modified push-ups. When those reps feel easy, add just 2.5% more resistance. The goal isn't to exhaust, it's to reawaken. Think of your muscles as a car that's been parked too long. Once you turn the key, the engine remembers how to run. And here's the beautiful part. Strength training doesn't just rebuild muscle. It rebuilds trust in your own body. But that's only the beginning. Because the one thing that often makes or breaks independence isn't strength at all. It's balance. 2. Balance training. The 10-second test that predicts independence. One of the hardest things for many of my senior patients to admit isn't weakness, it's fear. The quiet fear that one slip, one fall could change everything. But balance isn't just coordination, it's communication between your muscles, joints, and brain. And when that dialogue weakens, independence begins to fade. In the Cochrane Systematic Review, 2020, researchers analyzed 121 trials involving over 6,700 older adults. The result? Regular balance and functional exercises cut falls by 24%, while programs that blended multiple exercise types reduced them by as much as 34%. A follow-up balance exercise circuit study, 2022, found that just 3 months of training improved postural stability, muscle strength, and even psychological well-being. In my clinic, I use what I call the 10-second test. Can you stand on one leg without holding on for 10 seconds? This simple test can predict fall risk more accurately than expensive scans. If it feels shaky, that's your body asking for practice, not punishment. Here's how to start safely. Choose a stable surface, maybe near the kitchen counter. 3 times a week, spend 15 minutes working on simple drills, single leg stands for 30-60 seconds, heel-to-toe walking across a room, or gentle side steps. Once that feels natural, add a dual task, like turning your head slowly while balancing. These small challenges retrain your neuromuscular system, strengthening both body and confidence. One patient of mine, Rosa, age 68, began this after nearly tripping on her front porch. She started with just 10 seconds per leg. After 6 weeks, she could balance for 45 seconds and, more importantly, walk outdoors again without fear. Balance is like a tree finding its roots again after a storm, steady, grounded, alive. But what most people don't realize, the next exercise doesn't just keep you steady, it may help you live longer. 3. Walking and aerobic exercise, how motion keeps memory alive. When I ask my patients what they do for exercise, most proudly say, "I walk." And they should. Walking is one of the most underrated medicines we have. But what many don't realize is that every step does far more than move your legs. It wakes your brain, lowers inflammation, and even helps you live longer. The 2023 meta-analysis of large-scale studies found that just 150 minutes of moderate activity each week, roughly 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week, reduced risk of death from all causes by 31%. That's not theory, that's hard data. The Harvard Health study echoed it. Adults walking 8,000 to 10,000 steps daily had dramatically lower rates of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, and dementia compared to sedentary peers. In my 25 years of practice, I've seen walking act like oil on the hinges of the human body. It keeps joints moving smoothly, oxygen flowing, and the mind alert. George, a 72-year-old retired teacher I worked with, started with 10-minute morning walks. After 3 months, his blood pressure dropped 12 points, his sleep improved, and his doctor reduced his medication dose. Here's a gentle protocol I share with patients. Begin with 10 to 15 minutes of slow to moderate walking, 5 days a week. When that becomes comfortable, extend to 30 minutes before adding intensity. Some prefer brisk walking. Others love dancing, swimming, or cycling. What matters most is consistency. Picture your circulation like a river. When you move, the current flows. When you stop, it stagnates. Motion is life. Have you noticed your energy shifting after a simple walk? Tell me below. Because the next exercise isn't about endurance or power, it's about the invisible center that keeps every other movement safe. 4. Core strength. The invisible power belt. One of the most overlooked parts of aging well isn't how strong your arms or legs are, it's how stable your center is. Your core is more than muscle. It's your body's power belt, the quiet stabilizer that keeps you upright, steady, and safe. In my clinic, I've worked with hundreds of seniors who thought core work meant sit-ups. But for us, after 60, it's about connection, training the deep stabilizers that protect the spine and hips. When these muscles weaken, even simple tasks like reaching for a cabinet or stepping off a curb can throw balance off-center. Here's where the biology gets interesting. Core training reactivates the mTOR pathway, the same cellular signaling system that strength training uses to build muscle protein. As we age, this pathway slows down, reducing muscle synthesis and coordination, but targeted core work turns it back on, helping muscles respond faster and joints align better. A study summarized in your research data found that progressive resistance and bodyweight movements improved timed up and go scores, a key fall risk test, by up to 0.4 seconds in just 16 weeks, meaning faster reactions and fewer stumbles. In my experience, those improvements are life-changing, especially for seniors who live alone. Start gently. Planks against a wall or countertop, bridge poses lying on your back, or seated knee lifts. 2 to 3 times a week is enough. Hold each pose for 20 to 40 seconds, then rest and repeat. It's not about force, it's about stability. Think of your core as the foundation bolts of your house. When they're tight, every floor above feels secure. When they loosen, everything shakes. And here's where it gets exciting, because the next exercise restores something we often forget to nurture: the flexibility that makes every movement feel free again. 5. Flexibility and recovery. The forgotten youth serum. We talk a lot about strength and endurance, but few realize that flexibility is the quiet guardian of both. Without it, muscles tighten, joints ache, and movement becomes cautious instead of confident. In my 25 years working with older adults, I've found flexibility work to be one of the most healing rituals a person can reclaim after 60. When muscles lose elasticity, circulation slows and inflammation rises. But stretching, done gently and consistently, acts like a daily oil change for the body. It keeps the connective tissue highways open so nutrients, oxygen, and joint fluid can move freely. Research shows that regular low-intensity stretching and mobility work may reduce inflammatory markers like C-reactive protein, CRP, by up to 13% after 10 months of cardiovascular exercise. Less inflammation means better recovery, smoother motion, and less stiffness on waking. In my clinic, I recommend making flexibility work part of your cool-down, not a punishment after exercise. 5 to 10 minutes is enough. Focus on slow, sustained stretches, hamstrings, calves, shoulders, and chest, holding each for 15 to 30 seconds. Breathe deeply. Never force. Let gravity assist. The best time? Right after your walk or strength session, when muscles are warm and receptive. Rosa, the same patient who once feared falling, now ends every session with what she calls her evening unwind. A few minutes of stretching before bed helped her sleep deeper and wake up pain-free. "It's like my body thanks me," she told me once, smiling. Flexibility is like keeping your favorite leather shoes supple. It takes a little care each day, but it prevents cracks and stiffness for years. And that's the secret most people miss. Recovery isn't rest. It's restoration. Now, let's bring it all together. When we look back, most of us don't regret the days we pushed too hard. We regret the days we didn't move at all, the mornings we told ourselves, tomorrow, not realizing that every day of movement buys us another tomorrow of independence. In my 25 years of clinical work, I've watched these 5 simple exercises: strength, balance, walking, core, and flexibility change lives far more than any pill or supplement ever could. They aren't workouts, they're conversations with your body. Each repetition says, "I'm still here." Each stretch whispers, "I still can." Think about this for a moment. Which one of these 5 feels missing from your life right now? The one you've ignored may be the one your body's been waiting for. Maybe you start small: 1 wall push-up, 1 walk around the block, 1 stretch before bed. That's how healing always begins. Quietly, consistently, and with compassion. I'd love to hear from you. Which of these movements are you ready to reclaim? Type it below. Your comment might encourage someone who's just beginning again. And if this message speaks to you, I'd be honored to have you stay with our community here at Healthy Aging Hub. Subscribe, share this with a friend, and join me next week as we explore 3 morning habits that rebuild energy after 60. But before we end, take a breath. Feel your feet grounded beneath you. Your body's been waiting for this attention, not perfection. Because growing older isn't about losing time, it's about gaining wisdom in how to use it. And every step, every rep, every breath you take is proof that your story isn't slowing down. It's just beginning again. Stay strong, stay steady, and stay here.